This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Hey everyone, I'm your host Dani, and I'm the first-time reader going through this series chapter by chapter. As always, there's no spoilers past the chapter we're covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host Brett, who's a longtime fan, and he's guiding me on this journey.
And before we get into things today, we just want to thank and welcome Kat Roscoe and Ryan Mark to the Wheel Weaves Patreon team. Thank you so much for your generosity and your support. We really appreciate it. In this episode, we're talking about chapters 17 and 18 of A Crown of Swords.
Yeah, so chapter 17 is The Triumph of Logic, and chapter 18 is As the Plow Breaks the Earth.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, well, we get a little prophecy, we get a little bit of, weird, dark friendy stuff, and we get some Aes Sedai stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like a whole combination
of very old Aes Sedai.
Yeah, we get some neat perspectives here, so I'm on board with this.
Yeah, it's okay, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
And we've done a little bit of a switcheroo in our seating arrangements, because we're changing up the aesthetics for some behind the scenes on our TikTok account.
Yeah, we are. We're gonna see how that goes.
Yeah, why not?
I'm sitting in a new spot. I don't know if I like it yet.
Oh no.
But we're gonna see how it goes.
We can switch back if you don't like it.
We'll see.
We're just literally switching.
I'm sitting, it's like telling me to sleep on a different side of the bed. Like, what are we doing here?
No, I would never.
Oh my goodness.
I would never.
This is like that for me.
Oh.
It's similar.
Okay, we'll see though.
Yeah.
It might be worth it for the fun behind the scenes TikTok footage.
I guess we'll see.
Okay. So people can go find us on TikTok. We're not like your regular podcasters. We're cool podcasters.
Yeah. At the Wheel Weaves?
Yeah.
TikTok?
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, so okay.
That's how you'll find us over there. Brett
cool.
doesn't even have TikTok.
I'm going to go check us out.
Yeah.
I had to download TikTok on my phone.
Yeah, you do. Okay, so tell us a fun fact.
Yeah, so in this chapter, we get a reappearance of a certain colored belt. Not sure if you were paying attention to that.
Yeah, something.
The red belt.
The red belt.
Right? Okay, this was, you made a huge deal of this.
I made a huge deal of a red belt?
Yeah. You don't even remember this. Oh my goodness. Okay. So.
When?
So, back in Lord of Chaos, when we had Azra, the wise woman who, ran up to heal in Abu Dar, right? There's the wise woman. There was a duel. Yes. The guy died. She went to go and, heal him.
Yeah.
She had a red belt on. A red belt, right?
See, I remembered Azra.
Yes.
I think last chapter I called her, or last episode I called her Asa or something like that.
Assie, yeah. Okay,
Asra,
but it's Asra. So anyways, she was there. She had a red belt. Back in Lord of Chaos, I tried to be like, yo, she's got a red belt. You were not focused on that. You were focused on, other things.
Clearly.
That's fine.
Nefarious.
Fine. And then this chapter, we get another red belt.
Is it the same?
It's not Azra.
Okay.
No.
Oh, so it doesn't matter?
No. It's pretty much implied, wise women wear red belts to identify that they're wise women.
Oh.
Yeah, because we get there's 100 or 200 of them.
Not to be confused with wise ones.
Oh, no, of course not. These are the wise women.
Who would ever make such a stupid mistake?
We get a whole backstory.
Not me over here. I had to reread where it talks about wise women several times because I was like, what are the wise ones? Why are they talking about wise ones here?
We get a whole backstory on the wise women of Abu Dar.
I'm aware.
Okay, well, okay.
I'm just letting you know.
Anyways,
don't confuse the two.
Fun fact, red belts, it's a thing, so possible real world inspiration. And this is the sort of edition where it's okay, maybe. So, but here we go. So I looked up mythological objects from different cultures, religions, legends, folklores, and there's a whole lot of stuff. There's armor, there's weapons, but there's also articles of clothing. So, on the list of mythological belts and girdles is something called the Tiet, which is the ancient Egyptian symbol of the goddess Isis, which is also called the knot of Isis because it resembles a knot used to secure the garments that the Egyptian gods wore. So, the color of the Tiet would typically be made of red jasper or similarly colored materials like red glass. So, the Tiet red belt of Tiet, which is also translated to mean welfare or life. And we've got wise women wearing red belts to heal people who are injured in duels.
Okay.
Lastly,
Did
Isis...
we get for sure that this woman in this chapter is a wise woman?
Yes, and we
Oh.
got her name and backstory. Like, we
Oh.
got a lot of things about her.
How did I miss that?
You didn't read it.
Yes, I did.
Your eyes glazed over and you passed by the paragraphs
Okay.
about this poor woman who is now dead.
I guess.
Okay, anyways.
Whoops, sorry, lady.
Isis was a very important ancient Egyptian goddess, and she was believed to help the dead enter the afterlife, and her maternal aid was invoked in healing spells to benefit ordinary people. So we've got red belts, Isis, Tiet. Boom, it's real-world inspiration for you.
Sort of.
Yep, there. That's why I said sort of edition.
Okay.
Okay.
Why not? Well, last time we were here, though, some interesting stuff happened. And I don't even mean that sarcastically.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah. So we had Jacob Carradine and the Dark Friend Lady from books past
Yes,
doing some dark friending.
Millie Skane.
Yeah. And then Matt had a series of unfortunate run-ins in the Queen's Palace and might have a new best friend to go clubbing with.
Yeah, that's okay. Best friend.
New best friend.
Yeah,
New
yeah.
forced best friend to go clubbing with, whose mom might or might not want to do him.
Yes, in a predatory fashion.
Yuck.
Okay,
Ugh.
super good. Love it.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we don't have to deal with that anytime soon.
Yeah,
Next chapter.
probably.
Shoot.
Like
okay.
his thoughts of it this chapter, I don't know. Okay.
I know. I'm concerned actually that this isn't over.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Uh-huh. I'm concerned.
Yeah.
All
We've got
right.
like half a book left, so there's time.
Yeah. All right. Chapter 17, The Triumph of Logic, and we get the two faces, the black and white, typically our dark friend symbol.
Yeah. I mean, kind of makes sense.
All right, so now we get into Matt's perspective. He is leaving the palace after Tylan lets him go, and he's feeling pretty terrible about this whole situation. And the worst of a bunch of really bad things was when Beslan teased his mother about finding a pretty for the balls.
Yeah.
And Tylan laughs about how a queen has no time for young men while staring at Matt.
Yeah. So bad.
Mm-hmm.
But
Not
we
good.
can just pass by it now because
Because he's
we're done.
gone. So Matt makes it back to the inn, and one of his men is in the middle of getting stitched up because he was in a duel.
Yeah, I actually like this situation because the men do this apparently all the time. Like, this is a regular occurrence, but nobody talks about it in front of Matt. So Matt
Yeah.
has to basically just pretend that it is not even happening in front of his eyes here.
Uh-huh, yeah, even
Yeah.
though it's super obvious.
Oh, yeah, like he's literally being stitched up in the, like, right on the floor here. So
And all of his men have been in a bunch of fights already since being here.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's Abu Dar.
it is.
People get crazy here. It's
A
pretty
little
fun.
bit, turns out. So Matt asks if Tom and Jolene have showed back up here, but neither have. And although Vannon does tell Matt that Nelisian came back here with a big iron-strapped chest, and he returned with Ulver.
Yeah, but I do want to point out here, because this was something we talked about last episode, of the time frame of when Matt visited the palace, and here we kind of get confirmation it's all the same
He
day.
went like right after.
He went immediately. Nelisian just showed up back at the inn. Matt just came back to the inn, so that's the time frame. It's all the same day.
And Oliver's doing his reading lessons, so that's great.
Yeah, and he's getting into trouble.
Yeah.
He's like pinching butts and getting punished for it, so
Well, okay.
it's all those men he's hanging around.
Yeah, definitely not Matt.
It's not Matt's fault. Matt
No
does
way.
name one thing that he does in this chapter that's like questionable. I dare you.
Literally nothing. He does
Nothing. He does-
everything great.
Exactly.
Although, a lot of it's self-defense.
Oh, I meant the thing about with the serving girl. No, okay.
No, I no.
Do you like glaze over that?
I did, yes.
Oh no, okay. There's a whole.
What
there's a whole
else
thing.
did I miss?
Oh man, we got a lot to talk about.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So now Matt tells
So one of the dude's
his
name is
guys.
Harnan. Yeah.
I was like, who is this? One of his
Yeah.
guys is there. Wait for Tom and Julian to get back with news of the women, and then he wants Vannon to go scope out the palace where Jacob Carradine is.
Yeah, the Chalcéan Palace. So Vannon, you remember who Vannon is? He's the important dude. Big dude, horse thief, really good.
Spy guy.
Yeah, and then we
Yeah.
get a couple like of the side characters here. So we've got Harnan and Koravin.
I
So
really don't think I've heard of them before.
no, they haven't really been referenced. So That's
and
fine.
now he lowers his voice, so he thinks no one can hear him.
Ooh, but
That's
maybe.
the problem with
Yeah.
this, I think. And he fills his men in on the dark friend situation. And I was like, Matt, maybe keep that to yourself just like a touch.
No, and he's got to tell his boys.
All of them.
Well, these are like,
maybe
you
Tom
know.
and Julian, maybe Vannon, like maybe. But
So-
like telling everybody in the middle of this common room is not a good idea. It's about a good idea as shouting Mogedian's name in the middle of Tel'aran'rhiod
Fair.
when she's just escaped.
It's like three guys, and you know, Matt is a sharer of information, and I appreciate
understand,
that.
but like right time, right place, bud. No?
Nope, no time for that now. Anyways, okay.
Fine. So now the men get ready to leave, and then one of them tells Matt
Yeah.
that he heard that there was fog in the Rahad yesterday, and Matt's like, that's really weird. It's too hot for fog.
Yeah, like, why are you telling me this, man? It's fog.
Yeah.
But, whoa.
It's the kind of fog that people disappeared in.
And
Got eaten.
gotten eaten, and some body parts came back and just, like, popped up. And so it's not like a nice fog.
No,
So we gotta be on the lookout.
it's like a bad fog.
Look out for evil fog that eats people.
I will be on the lookout for that.
Keep your eyes open.
Okay.
You never know.
Never know.
That's kind of Matt's advice. He's like, well, you're not
well,
in it
he
now.
thinks about the bubbles of evil popping up.
That's true. That's true.
But
he's like,
that's what this is.
You're not in it now, so like worry about it if you're in it.
Don't fully understand this like bubbles of evil situation.
Dark one is like
No. I understand that you're going to explain
get
to
it.
me what was in the book,
sure.
but like,
Think of like a swamp.
No. We don't need to talk about that. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. I understand what I understand. Let's move.
Weird things are happening.
Yeah, no, I get that part.
Comma, where's the dark one?
I get that weird things are happening. It's evil and
it's random.
it's random. Yeah.
But can be tied closely to Taviran sometimes.
Sure.
There's rules, come on.
All right. So Matt is concerned right now with the fact that Nelisian left this giant chest of money in his room.
That's like 3 times all the things or whatever.
Oh my god, I know. And so he goes up the stairs and then, okay.
This is the serving girl thing.
Because I was going to say, like, he gets to his room and...
Not yet, he doesn't. Nope.
He gave me a look. Okay, you tell me about... What's her name? Kara?
Well, okay, so this is a little bit open for interpretation. So, yeah, I think it's Kara. So she catches him and she's like, hey, a man was looking for you, number one. He said he was an illuminator, but he looked kind of shifty, so Mr. Sandin wouldn't give him a meal. And the dude wanted, like, Matt to pay for it, even though he's not here. But anyways, he left. I will note that Matt thinks to himself that he wants to find an illuminator, but with everything going on, now is not the time to really worry about that. Mm-hmm. But then there's like this weird interaction where they do a little playful back and forth banter.
Yeah, because
he
I
tucks a coin in her,
in her
like
boobs.
in her boobs.
Yeah, her cleavage. But I do remember this, and I remember the illuminator situation.
Sure.
And Matt's like, oh man, I really want to talk to one of those. It's like, Matt, this isn't an illuminator, idiot.
Well, the guy, like, we don't know if that guy was
no one just like
connected.
comes around wanting Matt, who's like actually who they say they are.
Okay, super sus. That's
Yes.
fair. However, back to the girl, then this is why I say it's open to interpretation a little bit, because Matt thinks that the innkeeper, so Mr. Sandin, looked after her serving women almost as closely as she did her daughters.
Right.
Almost.
Right.
Kind of implies that Matt's totally maybe already hooked up with her.
Matt, I think that's a stretch.
But I'm just saying, it's like it might have happened.
I don't care.
He tells her like, "Oh, I'll maybe come find you later," because she's clearly like into that.
Okay.
If you want, read it again. If you don't want to,
I
whatever.
don't want to. I want to
That's
move
fine.
on.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Matt's the scoundrel.
He's not a scoundrel. What
Yes.
makes him a scoundrel about that?
Just trying to hook up with everyone he can find. That makes
She's
him a
trying
scoundrel.
harder to hook up with him than he is with her.
Maybe she's a scoundrel too.
Why are people scoundrels for trying to hook up with each other? It's like hot in a Abu Dar, and it's like, you could die any day now.
Oh my gosh.
Gotta play defense here. Can't call Matt a scoundrel.
Okay, can we get to the good stuff though? Not the maybe stuff that maybe happens
This was
in the
the good.
background?
Okay, fine.
No,
okay.
this is all
okay.
nothing happens.
The squeaky floor. Fine, let's talk about
Yeah, so Matt gets to his room and the floor squeaks behind him. And in other inns, this wouldn't have been a big deal, but the floors here do not squeak.
it. Yeah.
And so he looks back and then action scene.
Yeah. dude tries to hit him with a club, and he catches it, sort of, but, like,
oh my gosh.
almost breaks his hand.
But then the guy grabs his neck.
And he's choking him out.
Ah.
You know, Matt stabs him 100 times.
And it's like a full-out fight in the hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, exactly.
Yeah, he basically just, like, starts stabbing and, you know, kills him.
They fall to the floor. They kind of bust into someone else's room.
Yeah, like the room that's there, and then there's a dude with a... So this is the thing.
Yeah.
The guy in the room, there's a big chest, like, huge chest, big chest, takes up most of the empty space in the room.
Yes.
And he's, like, looking in the empty chest, and then sees Matt, who's killed, clearly the guy's, like,
well, here's the
friend.
thing. I don't think that them falling into this room and breaking down this door was random.
So here's the thing.
I think the guy getting stabbed stumbled towards this door, fell through, and his buddy's here for help.
The door was open.
The door was open.
Yeah.
Oh, so the guy clearly came up there. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, my speculation's right.
Yeah, you're right. No, 100%. Because then the guy's like, oh, man, you killed my friend. So he tries to, you know, kill Matt, but then Matt throws his knife and kills him. So, but the whole point that I really want to talk about, yeah, Matt tried to get, like, two guys tried to kill him. What's up with the big giant chest? I'm very wary of chests right now because we saw Rand go into one.
Yeah, we certainly did.
So it's like, why do you have a big empty chest? And Matt's thought process is, oh, maybe they're going to fill it with stuff they are going to steal.
Steal from me.
Like, maybe, but how could they know about the money?
No,
like,
you know what my head goes to? I don't know, maybe a big ol' chest that you could, you know, fit someone in that you're pretending to be for a school year. How many times
my God, I can't believe...
How many times can I make that reference?
Mad Eye Moody, right?
Yeah, it's Mad.
That's the guy, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to be like, yeah, put Matt in the box maybe. Like, that's where my head goes, because right now I'm very wary of large boxes that people can fit in.
Good to be wary of that.
Yeah. Be like, do I fit in that? I'm not going near it.
Yeah.
So there's a Harry Potter reference there.
That was one. It was so weak, and it's probably like the 5th time I've made that particular reference.
Well, it's
but
like...
maybe there should stop being large chests that people can fit in.
Right. Right? Okay.
Do you want to finish this scene first?
Yeah, we can do that.
Because the guy comes at Matt, and then Matt throws his dagger at him, and the guy dies and falls backwards into the chest.
Yeah. And that's when Matt does his whole, like, oh, it's good to be lucky.
Right.
But my favorite part is just to end this, and then we'll do the shot,
'Kay.
is Matt's manservant, Narum, shows up at the door because clearly there was, like, a big commotion.
Yeah.
And he's got a big, like, cast iron frying pan or something.
Yeah, he does.
Behind his back, and he's like, what's going on here? But then doesn't talk about the dead people or what he's going to do with the pan.
No.
No.
It made me shifty of Narum.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Why would you suspect?
Like, why was he hiding trying to hide it from Matt? The guys are clearly dead.
The guy's
was he coming to help the guys?
Oh my gosh.
With Matt?
Okay, well that...
And then he, like, pretends like nothing's happening?
Yeah, I don't care for that thought.
No, me neither, but that's where my mind went.
It's more like Narum's not a hero, but he was going to do something heroic,
I
and now
like
he's just trying
that
to play
better
it off.
than where mine went.
Me too.
But, yeah, my mind just was like, why is he trying to hide that?
Okay. No, I see where you're going with that.
And from Matt's perspective, he was like, he always has a big set of pots.
He's got a bunch of stuff all the time. That's his job.
And then instead of talking about the dead people, he's
not a hero. He's just a regular dude.
He's like, man, Matt, you got blood on your clothes again.
You know how hard that is to get out bloodstains? It's really hard.
Okay.
Anyways, I can't believe.
I just have to put that out there. I don't actually believe it. It
doesn't matter. You're putting.
It's just a thing I thought.
Yeah, well, okay.
Do you want to know things I think?
Not if it's that. Okay.
Okay.
Shot time.
Okay. All right, and back with our shot glasses. These are ones we've used before.
Yeah.
They're both Banff.
Banff.
Yeah.
It works.
There's a theme.
It is. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Cheers.
Cheers.
Very terrible
being in a
reference,
box.
but I wanted to take a shot today.
Yeah.
Okay, cheers.
You okay?
No. Okay.
That good, hey?
No. Okay, good. Okay, so fight scene over. Matt wins.
Yep.
Narum is...
Suspicious.
There.
Suspiciously there.
He's there.
Okay. And yeah, so that's the point, is there was a big commotion, and that's when Mr. Sannon and her husband come up too, because it's like, it's a big fight in the middle of the day, so...
Yeah, that's true. loud, lots going on, and Matt tells them that he was jumped in the hall, and that the other man fell into the open chest that they were probably going to fill with whatever they could steal. And is this Matt just actually being, like, naive?
I mean, maybe, but, like, so Matt kind of gets to be in denial about some things sometimes.
Okay.
Right? Like, he's been attacked before multiple times. He's been attacked by, like, thugs in the street in Tarvalin and, like, all these things. And he's always like, oh, that was weird.
Yeah.
Right? And he doesn't...
But is he actually just kind of dumb? Like, does he actually not put all of this together? Or does he actually think that these guys were here to steal his gold?
I think he prefers not to... he actively doesn't think about things.
You're right. He actively doesn't think.
About things. For reasons. Like, he doesn't want to know, so he's not gonna ask about it.
He's like, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, so it's like if I just shut off that part of my brain where I think like, oh, no, everything's fine.
They were gonna rob me.
Ah, it's crazy. Or he's just saying it because like the whole Mistress Annan thing.
But that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Like, your take on is if he's actually saying this just for like them, or if he legitimately thinks.
I'm going to play both sides of the board on that one.
Because I think that if he was to think to himself, these are like dark friends out to get me, or there's something more nefarious happening here, but I'm gonna tell them.
Sure.
Hopefully they bought that. Like, he would think something in his head.
I mean, maybe.
If he was thinking differently.
But, like, consider back, even when he was attacked in his camp by the Aiel who got, like, gatewayed in, he did the search around his tent, and he's like, oh, man, it's a gateway. And the only thing he really thought was like, oh, man, that's weird. I hope, like, a Forsaken's not after me. Whoop, never mind. I don't want to think about that. It's all good. Yeah. And just, like, put extra guards around the camp to hopefully not think about it.
Even when a dark friend Aiel woman...
Yeah.
Like...
tries to murder him. Yeah.
Took up a relationship with him just to get information to murder him.
Yeah. He's like, oh, that was weird. That sucks.
Sucked.
You got to be careful of women.
Oh my god.
But that's quintessential Matt, right? That's our boy.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Okay, so anyways, like, no, I don't think that they were here to steal his gold.
Yeah, I thought you were going to pick up more on the whole, like, his thoughts about Mistress Annan.
Oh no.
Because the thing you've been searching for, you talked about it last episode. I even wanted to highlight it. He thinks about her, and he thinks she's pretty despite a touch of gray in her hair.
That's different. That's not what I've been saying.
I thought you were talking about gray in there.
If you think that's what I've been saying, you have not been listening.
But I thought it was like there was something about gray in the hair.
Not just random gray anywhere, specifically at the temples. That's what I've been highlighting.
Oh, at the temples.
When the gray is specifically streaked at the temples.
Okay.
That's the specific thing I've been tracking.
I was really excited to be like, oh, and then he's like,
found
oh.
one.
Yeah.
No. This was not streaks of gray at the temples.
He even thinks like, oh, it's not like my mother. She's like, and I said that in old people, you know?
Yeah, no, I know that.
Okay. All right, fine, whatever.
I didn't.
I tried.
I didn't
okay.
write that down. I didn't note that.
Fine. It doesn't matter then.
Okay.
I was really excited.
You were? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You were also really excited about Narum, like, coming to help Matt. And
yeah, and then you just, like, point the finger at the guy. Coming to save the day here.
Oh, man. This is not your night.
No.
Okay, let's see. We have a lot to go still.
Okay.
Let's see how it goes for you. It might turn around just
yet. No, I doubt it. Okay. So that's when we get the backstory. Because these guys have been being suspicious, apparently.
Well, exactly. And that's what makes me think, like, dumb, Matt.
For, like, the last hour and a half.
Are you still naive about this? Like,
yeah.
They clearly wanted a room right next to yours, not to steal your gold.
Yeah, he's got the blinders on. So okay. Mr. Santa points out, like, okay, so they came in just before and took the room just before Matt came in here.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like he's been here very long. And they were only planning to stay a few hours before leaving to wherever, but they were picky and turned down like 3 rooms and then finally settled on this one. So.
And that's when I wrote duh in my notes.
So here's the thing. We know that there are possibly some factions after Matt right now.
Yeah, lots.
But does the timeline make sense? So
no,
we know Matt.
I don't know.
Matt just went from watching Jacob Carradin's place to the palace and then went back to the inn.
Right, and he did come across some shifty characters.
He did, but the important part is that as soon as Millie Skane went into Carradin's place, Carradin had the run-in with Samael, who said leave Matt alone, but as soon as that conversation finished, Carradin sent Millie Skane to go and, like, scope out Matt with all of her dark friend circle or whatever.
That's true.
So is the time frame, was there enough time for Millie Skane to get her circle to, like, go search out Matt in the time it took him to go to the palace and then back to the inn?
Mm-hmm.
So does it line up, or are there, like, more people, or, you know, something going on with Matt?
I think it lines up. I think it lines up, and
okay.
I think that the chapter symbol of, like, it being, like, a dark friend chapter symbol, I
Sure.
mean, like, I know other dark friend stuff happens
Yeah.
this chapter, but those guys also could be dark friends.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, something to think about.
Yes. So now, at this point, Matt puts back his own knife, and his fingers touch some paper that's in his, like, inner coat pocket.
Yeah, ooh.
And that's confusing, because he didn't put any paper there.
No.
And now, Mistress Anan and her husband are having this side conversation about men staying out of women's business and stuff.
Women run the inns, and then the men run the ships, and they stay out of it.
Yeah. All the guilds and all the fancy talk and all the everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Just another thing to add to the list of things we know about Ebu Dar.
I love the fancy names, too, because with the husband,
Yes.
he's part of the Ancient and Honorable League of the Nets.
I know, I love it.
Fantastic. Great names.
And now, as they are bantering back and forth, Matt pulls out this letter in front of everybody to read it.
Yeah,
Like,
he doesn't hide it at all, which is kind of interesting.
all. Like, you have no idea what this is.
Yeah.
It's clearly been slipped to you. And you're just like, hey, everybody and strangers.
Well, he doesn't read it out loud.
No, but
he just
like,
reads it.
it's still like, hey, what's that? Like,
Oh,
it draws attention.
You know what? I agree. I agree with you, but it's in his head, so you know.
All right, and this letter is written in some, like, weird script of, like, all capital letters, which either a child would write or an adult who doesn't want their hand recognized.
Right? Block letters.
Yeah.
Cut out letters from a magazine.
Yeah, yes.
There you go.
Good idea.
Okay, so the letter says, Elaine and Nynaeve are pushing too far. Remind them they are still in danger from the tower. Warn them to be careful, or they will be kneeling to ask Elida's pardon yet.
Yes, I know.
So,
I sussed out a little more than what Matt sussed out here.
which was nothing? I mean, he puts two names on the table, but, like,
And they don't even make sense.
not really.
He's like, what he thinks is like, there's no signature, and this doesn't quite fit with what the rebels are talking about. And it's like, yes, it does.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with that.
They're in trouble or in danger from the tower.
So here's the thing. They haven't told Matt anything.
No, literally.
Matt
nothing.
doesn't know anything.
No.
He's got, like, Rand's information, which is, like, there was
Barely
50
anything.
and afraid
Yeah.
of the
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Elida.
barely anything. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they haven't, like, filled him in at all.
But
so.
anyone saying they're in danger from the tower isn't from the tower. Period.
Unless it's, like, a
Secret spy.
secret double agent spy ferret.
Which we know
right?
all of those are still at the tower.
Yeah, it's not these two.
No.
These two were, like...
No, because, okay, honestly, if we go through the list of people who are in close contact with Matt...
Okay, hold on. So just for the record,
Okay.
Matt says it was either Teslan or Jolene.
Yes, that's
Which
what
is
he
like
comes up with.
the two tower
And then he's like,
sisters.
neither of them makes sense to me either.
But I guess that's it. Figured it out, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, of all the people here...
Yeah.
Okay, so there is Tesla and Jolene who grabs him by the coat.
Sure.
And then there's also other Aes Sedai who grab him by the coat.
Yeah.
And they're all close enough to slip something into his coat.
That's true.
Now, we also have another suspect who was close enough to be rubbing up against him.
Right.
Who
Beslin.
could also... No. Tylan.
I know.
Who could also slip something
Yeah, okay.
under or into his coat.
Yeah.
That maybe understands things from a different perspective, because the whole they're in danger from the tower, but they can kneel before Elida, those two things really don't make sense together.
Okay.
Because a rebel wouldn't talk about kneeling before Elida if they were in trouble, in my opinion, because they'd have to deal with their own hall. They wouldn't have to kneel before Elida if they were in trouble.
Okay.
I think.
I can kind of see where you're coming from with that.
Can you? Because you're like looking at me like I'm talking crazy.
Well, it says, okay, remind them they're still in danger from the tower. Warn them to be careful or they're going to be kneeling to ask Elida's pardon. So it's a weirdly phrased letter to begin with.
Yeah.
And
I just can't see it coming from someone from the tower, and I can't really see it coming from somebody from the rebel group.
Okay.
And then that just kind of leaves Tylan, who's kind of in the middle and cares about what Nynaeve and Elaine are doing.
That's true. There is a relationship there, and maybe she doesn't fully understand the dynamics either. So, yeah.
That's what I think, that we're led to believe, that it's the Aes Sedai, like one side of them,
Sure.
who are like pulling at Matt and really close to him.
When it happened beforehand, so.
Yeah, but I think maybe Tylan might be our
Okay.
unsuspecting
You know, I like
culprit.
it because we get the Jolene perspective with Teslan, and there's no reference or hint or anything.
Oh, it's for sure not
so,
that.
Okay.
Matt thinking it's Teslan or Jolene
Means it's for sure wrong.
is an unreliable narrator,
Gotcha.
100%.
There is no way he's
yeah,
right
it's
about that.
either like Merlelli,
Yeah.
who like really could give a shit about Elaine and Nynaeve,
Yeah. Which also, like, you know, does it line
or
up
Van
with her?
Dien and Adelius, who also, the only thing I could see them caring about is Elida not getting Elaine because she's the heir to
Right.
Andor.
Right. Okay.
That's the only thing I could see them actually caring about.
Okay, you gotta tuck it away.
But yeah, okay. And then basically that's where this perspective ends, with everyone making jokes about men and women.
Ah, hilarious.
Does anyone ever understand women?
No.
No.
No, they don't.
No, they
That's
don't.
it.
Okay, so perspective change to Jolene.
Yeah.
So Jolene and Teslan are sharing the same apartment, but they're not really getting along very well.
No, and Jolene's orders aren't allowed here because men are terrible.
Teslan hates those
Yeah.
men.
Teslan's the red.
Yes.
If you missed that somehow.
Yes. Yeah. And then we get the whole backstory. They were sent to Abu Dar by Elida as punishment, sort of, and they're kind of in this same boat together.
Sort of. Like, it's all...
Right. And it sounds like Teslan is annoyed with Jolene for the comments she made to the other Aes Sedai.
Yeah, but the whole, like, oh, we're going to keep you on bread and water and send Matt off to the towers, so...
Yeah, and so that, you know, isn't great for their relationship.
Yeah.
They should communicate
Probably.
their feelings to each other.
Probably.
They're...
But, like, green and red, and, like, Teslan was a sitter and got, like, bumped down, and then Jolene got promoted, but then got shipped off, so...
And it does sound like they are a little bit...
Salty
and overwhelmed. Like, they're not in a position of any kind of authority or power. There are way more rebel Aes Sedai here than...
Well, that's also what I wanted to kind of mention, too, is, like, they are severely outnumbered.
Yeah.
And their whole game plan is kind of weird.
Uh-huh.
So, like, let's talk about it when we get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Jolene knows she slipped up a bit, but then she says Merlelli needed to be put in her place. Like, she was too angry about, you know, the snooty bitch who was saying things that annoyed her.
Yeah, so we kind of got the background, too, because apparently Amyrlin and Teslan were both teachers of Jolene's when Jolene was a novice, but apparently Amyrlin is so old that she also taught Teslan, so Teslan should know how Amyrlin was as a teacher, and she was, like, really mean and stuff.
But that's what you're supposed to be.
That's what teachers are supposed to do. But it is interesting that we've got Jolene, who is a green, who thinks about the rebels, how she hates them, and the fact that they broke the tower. It's just interesting to see a perspective.
Even though she didn't like what Elida did, she would never let the tower be broken.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, it's an interesting take where... Did the rebels actually break the tower, or did the actions of, like, you, who were a part of... like, deposing Swan in this, like, very shady way.
Yes.
Like, it all kind of adds together.
No, I know, but it reminds me of Moraine's perspective, who wasn't involved in the situation, but when she heard about how Swan was deposed, she, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, thought... the tower should have stayed together, and she was upset that it was broken.
Yeah, she thought to herself, like, oh, I could probably have even, like, swept everything under the rug if the tower stayed together and whole.
Right.
Like, maybe I could actually get past that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Now, Teslan says, well, since you brought it up, maybe we should take advantage of this situation. Elida's orders still stand. Nynaeve and Elaine are to be returned to the tower as soon as they're found. And I agreed to wait, but maybe we shouldn't wait anymore. it's too bad Egwene isn't here, but if we add Matt, Cawthon in, and maybe Avienda as a novice, will be welcomed back, get back in the good books with Elaida.
So that's the strategy that I wanted to like bring up here, because we've got Tesla and Jolene.
They're annoyed at what happened, right?
But here's the thing. They talk about like, hey, let's just get Nynaeve and Elaine, who, by the way, are more powerful than these two Aes Sedai.
True.
Let's add in Matt Cawthon and Ta'Veren. And, like, how does that go? And then Avienda, who's also more powerful than these two.
I know, but in their minds...
How are you going to get 3 Aes Sedai who are more powerful than you, plus Matt Cawthon?
Very easy. Let me tell you.
Hit him in the head with a hammer.
Almost. Kind of.
Okay.
But, in their minds, Nynaeve and Elaine and Avienda are not Aes Sedai, so therefore, they have to listen to them as Aes Sedai.
You really think that?
Yes, I do think that.
Oh, man.
I think that's how arrogant Aes Sedai are.
You know what? Okay, I accept.
Especially these ones who haven't been around all the rebel and stuff going on.
It's like, we're just going to go up and threaten them with like, ooh, you're going to be super punished if you don't come back with us right now.
Pretty much.
So.
And then also resort to binding them in air.
Yeah, okay. Even though, like, they're not stronger, so...
It doesn't matter, though.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter because they're not Aes Sedai, so...
You've got a good point. And Aiel are savages, so, like, you know, that's fine.
Oh, yeah, conk them on the head, for sure.
Yeah.
With a frying pan, even.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Go get Narum, get that frying pan, right? There you go.
Yeah, although I am upset with Narum for trying to use Mistress Luhan's weapon.
That's fair. It's
a good weapon, though.
It is. I mean, it's kind of overpowered, so, you know.
It's the best weapon there is.
That's why I didn't use it immediately, because...
So powerful.
Too powerful.
Yeah.
The inn would explode. So, okay. Anyways.
Yeah, back to all of this. So Jolene is like, what do you mean welcomed back? Elaida humiliated us just to show the others that she could. She sent us to this stupid, hot, smelly city where nothing important is happening.
And I hate it here. I hate it so much.
And the queen has no power, and we want to get back in Elaida's favor? Fuck that.
Yeah, like, no way. No way.
I'm on board. I'm the same.
We find out a little bit about Jolene's self-inflicted penance. So she was the one who had, like, set her own. And
because she couldn't find Rand, right? Or something? Or
couldn't find Swan, I thought.
Couldn't find Swan?
Yeah.
She couldn't find someone.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Part of the penance she set for herself was she wasn't gonna channel. Or touch the source.
Yeah.
So, like,
That's pretty intense.
Yeah. She had to go big.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Elaida was gonna, like, triple it.
Is she still doing that?
No, it's over now. It's over
because she pours the wine with Saidar.
She does know that's over.
Not wine. Punch.
Punch.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's wine.
It's wine punch. So it's like a sangria. So it's like wine mixed with juice.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I like that.
We did have a bit of a conversation in the Discord.
Summertime drinks.
About punch and how all of a sudden in book 6... everybody's drinking punch.
Just so effing
and it's
hot.
Never been mentioned before. Because before, in like Tyr, they would drink iced wine.
Okay.
And stuff. And so if you're hot, like really, my take, completely unfounded and just pure speculation.
Sure.
Is that with the droughts, there's probably less growing. There's less grapes. There's less wine being produced. So to spread out your... turn it into punch. You turn it into punch because then you use less wine.
Oh, dang, that's smart. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because it is refreshing. It's, mixed with whatever. But, yeah, and I bet wine is very expensive, too, if there's less of it.
Okay.
So
you know
spread
what?
out your wine.
I fully accept all those wine facts.
And it's not facts. Wine speculation.
I'm taking it as... That's fine. I'm taking it as fact.
Logical speculation.
No. You said it confidently enough that I now accept that as true.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Wine facts.
They're wine facts.
Punch facts.
Punch facts.
Okay, anyway, so they did drink some punch here. But what else is going on?
Yeah, so this is when we get to their plan.
Okay.
Yeah. So Teslan kind of has a point, and she says, well, okay, so she's the Amyrlin seat, so we kind of have to get back in her good graces at some point. And not sending her any news from Abu Dar for a while showed her that we're not lapdogs. So they've clearly been holding out giving information to Elaida that they're supposed to be doing, but she points out that if we stay quiet too long, then that could be seen as treason, so like we gotta tell them something at some point. So and then Jolene's like counter to that too is like, okay, all the rebels, the girls, Nynaeve, Elaine, whatever, how much are they actually going to be punished? Right?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, make them suffer for a few years, but like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says that they should just sit there where Elida put them and just wait it out.
Mm-hmm.
But what she doesn't say is that Jolene is prepared to wait until Elida also finds herself deposed the same way that Swan was.
Yeah.
So Jolene's like, I'm going to sit on my hands. I'm going to do nothing.
I am going to say nothing. I'm going to
drink
give
so
no
much
reports.
wine punch.
Yep.
No reports are being sent in.
Nope.
I'm waiting this one out.
She's going to tan in Abu Dar.
You're
She's
right.
going to be on vacation.
Exactly.
In this stinky, smelly, violent city.
What else are you going to do?
Yeah, it's you know what? I think this town is less stinky. We haven't really got any note of it like smelling bad.
So we have got
I keep saying stinky.
interesting architecturally though.
Yeah,
We've gotten that it's like big white, lots of air flowing, like it's the city's designed that way. So it seems like it's designed a little bit better to have free flowing air.
Okay.
So
we'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably my favorite place so far.
Okay, even with all the knife fights and...
Even with the knife fights.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, you're on the good side of all that stuff.
Because I'm a woman.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. Just don't get out of line.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Were you planning to get out of line?
I wasn't.
Good.
And I'm still not.
Good.
Because,
Good. Okay.
Anyways, so it ends with Teslan being like, okay, I guess there's no need to be urgent. And then Jolene settles in and she's like, okay, I'm going to convince Teslan that we ain't doing anything. We're doing nothing.
Uh-huh.
So I'm okay with that too.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Just like, don't...
They're just not really anywhere right now. They kind of are like Vandine and Adelius, who also weren't really there, and they've sort of joined with the rebels, kind of.
They're like, okay, we're here, and that's what's happening.
But they're seeing kind of what's happening, it seems like. So
yeah, there's definitely some politics going on, because Jolene considers that Teslan is red and Elida's red, so yeah, obviously Red wants her, Aja to be an Amyrlin.
It kind of sounds like Jolene, with a gust of wind, could find herself on the rebel side.
Possibly. I mean, Elida's a bully.
Yes.
So she's going to have her...
She's going to jump ship, leave Teslan alone.
The comeuppance is going to come.
I could see it maybe happening.
Okay.
All right. And then we're going to hop into another perspective change.
Yeah.
To Fallion.
Fallion.
When was the last time we saw Fallion?
Okay, no, I got this here. So we first saw her really in Fires of Heaven because she was one of the OG Black Aja who left the tower. Right, the original 13.
Uh-huh.
Okay, she was part of that crew. And then at the end of Lord of Chaos, she was in Abu Dar. We got that in the epilogue. And she had received a note saying, gone. And she thinks that somehow they slipped out of the tower, out of the palace again without being seen. So clearly she had her eyes on Nynaeve and Elaine when they're doing their whole, disappearing.
That was her, right. Okay.
Then she's clearly been in Abu Dar for months, and she's searching for the secret catch of Angreal. And this is back in Lord of Chaos, keep in mind, she considers that putting some of the wise women to the question is what her next move is going to have to be. So she wants to question the wise women.
And that's what's happening here in this scene?
In this scene that we have right now, she's questioning a wise woman.
Oh, and she thought that...
And she thought that back in the epilogue of Lord of Chaos.
Okay.
Like, I'm going to have to do this because she's on direct orders from Moghedien.
Yeah.
And she hasn't heard from Moghedien in a long time. Because we know where Moghedien was captured.
Yeah.
And then she thinks that maybe it's best to capture Nynaeve and Elaine.
Uh-huh.
So that was all stuff we learned at the end of Lord of Chaos in the epilogue in like the 2 paragraphs.
Okay.
Okay? And then the last part we also learned about Fallion is that when she wasn't accepted, which she's not anymore, she's a full Aes Sedai, even though she's Black Aja, she came to Abu Dar as a runaway.
Ooh.
When she wasn't accepted.
Okay.
That's why she's got like a little bit of a history here.
Got it.
Okay? So, that was a lot, but that's Fallion. That's what we know.
That's Fallion. How much of that will I retain?
None of it. That's okay.
What a fun game.
Just wait till we hear about Tamael and Ispan.
I remember Tamael. I don't remember Ispan.
Okay.
I remember Tamael as the yellow, who's a good healer, but also uses her powers to, torture and kill people.
Yes. Yeah. So
that's one I do remember.
That's the thing. So, for this scene, there's the woman on the table. She's bound up. She screams. She convulses. She dies. And then they're in some basement, and then Fallion wishes that she had Tamael here, not Ispan, because Tamael, like you said, is better at torturing people and getting information. But the last time when a couple pieces of information about Tamael, she was the one we saw in the Shadow Rising in Tanchico when she was torturing the Panarch Amyrlin. And you might remember the scene where Elaine throws open the doors.
Yeah, I remember.
And then
Badass
shields
Elaine.
Tamale and knocks her unconscious. And then Amyrlin attacks her because she was torturing her. And then Elaine pulls Amyrlin off and then thinks, oh, I really wish I could bring Tamale with us, but I can't.
Yeah.
So, and then later on, we saw Tamale show up back in with Moghedien because then Moghedien gave orders to everybody to go places.
Yep.
And then that's when Leandrin...
Yep.
Remember good old Leandrin?
Leandrin.
She attacked the injured Moghedien.
She really thought she was strong enough to
take
use
her out.
compulsion on Moghedien.
Didn't work.
So
Tamale was ordered to torture Leandrin.
Yeah.
And then Leandrin was like, we can team up against her. And Tamale was like,
no.
So
not gonna happen. Never gonna happen.
Ispan we haven't really got much about besides that she was like in Tenchiku also.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about her.
Yeah.
I even wrote Ispan who ?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I assume she's a Black Aja with, them.
Yeah, she was in
That's
Tenchiku.
about all I know.
She's here now, so she's one of the ones with Moghedien.
Yeah, okay. All right, now, so this woman is dead on a table in some basement.
Yep.
And Fallion channels the woman's clothes up off the floor and drops them on the body, including a red leather belt.
Yes, and it's like very vivid because, it falls on the floor and she picks it up. And,
it's a whole thing.
So red belt.
Okay. So now there are 2 other men here in this basement, and Fallion tells them to go leave the body in an alley somewhere, slit her throat so it looks like she was robbed, and they start to be like, no one will believe this.
Yes, yeah. Because again, that's kind of like a reference to the whole red belt situation with the wise women.
Yeah. And then she just snaps at them and is like, do as you're told.
Yeah.
And so they go do as they're told.
It's Arnon and Nad.
Of course it is.
It's important later.
Sure. So, now Ispan says Moghedien isn't going to like this, and Fallion's like, who cares? She's clearly dead.
Yeah.
She's gone.
Yeah.
We don't know where Moghedien is. I don't care at all. And then she thinks to herself that she doesn't like Ispan because she's blue, or was blue, and Fallion is white, and she would much prefer a white and logical companion.
Yes.
Not this emotional blue business.
Even though Rihanna has some questionable, thoughts on certain points of logic.
Right.
So.
Goodness.
Yeah. Holy smokes.
All right. So now Fallion tells her that Moghedien has forgotten them, and she's convinced that this stockpile of power objects for sure doesn't exist. And Ispan is like, no, Moghedien says it does. It must be true.
Plus,
they're going to get their very own Angreal. And maybe even a Saw Angreal.
It's like not a friggin' chance. There's no possible way that you're ever going to be given like an Angreal or Saw Angreal. Like,
never.
not going to happen.
Never.
No chance.
No.
She's holding on to that, hope.
Delusional.
Yeah.
And so Fallion tells her no, again, Moghedien was wrong, and thinks to herself that it was shocking to learn that the Forsaken are basically just people, even if they're a lot stronger and more knowledgeable in the power.
Yes.
They still fight against each other just like everyone else.
Yeah,
and
like
so,
they're fallible. They're not immortal.
Yeah.
They're not perfect and all-knowing and all-powerful.
Right.
They're just knowledgeable and powerful, which is a big difference.
Yes. And then Ispan points out that there are other people searching for the same thing. So would everyone be searching for nothing?
Fair points all around.
Okay, now I have a point to make.
Okay.
That started from a conversation I had with our pal Spencer this afternoon.
Okay.
I'd like to chat with her about her thoughts and feelings. We should have her on again soon.
Yeah, okay.
Because I was talking about how annoyed I was last time about how we found the Cloud Bowl, or found out about the Cloud Bowl, but we didn't find it.
Yes.
And I'm actually starting to feel like I don't really care if we ever find it. It's being stretched out a little too long, and I'm kind of bored of the plot line.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
And so,
this is hurting me internally.
Is it? Sorry.
And externally.
Yeah, so you're not going to like this point then.
Oh no.
Because Spencer was like, this feels a lot like the exact same plot line where Nynaeve and Elaine were looking for the male Adam.
Yeah.
And all the Black Aja and Forsaken were looking for it, and they didn't know exactly what they were looking for or how to find it, and they were being chased by the Black Aja.
Okay, pause.
And
Moghedien knew what it was and where it was.
Yeah, no, I know.
We saw her looking at it in the museum.
It just all feels very similar, like Nynaeve and Elaine have another job to find another thing of power that also the Black Aja and the Forsaken want, and it's all just very similar and repetitive.
Well, I mean, okay, it's happened literally once before, and in this scene,
it's like the only other major plot point that they've had other than joining a circus.
But like also in this scene,
they also joined a circus. Don't forget,
these two Black Aja sisters literally think about the fact that Tanchico got effed up because of Nynaeve and Elaine too.
I know. There were good things that they did.
It was one other time.
You gotta, there's similarities.
I get it. I'm not happy about it.
But it's like, can they not have another find something that no one knows anything about?
You know what? They're not really suited for any other work right now.
To be fair, they did find and get the male Adam thing before anybody else.
Sure.
And hopefully that's actually gone. Right? That's the problem.
Yeah. Do you remember what happened with that?
Well, it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Go to the bottom of the sea.
Yes.
And by Bail Daman.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Allegedly. I don't believe that actually happened.
Right.
They probably shouldn't have let that out of their sight.
Playing the long game on that one. Okay. Sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But are we just to believe that, again, they're going to get to this object of power before anybody else because that's what we want the good guys to get it?
Maybe.
Let's see.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Anyway, you're not happy with this episode.
No, I mean...
You're not coming out like happy. I thought maybe things would, but I forgot I wanted to say
you're saying a lot of things right now. So.
Sorry. All right. So, Fallion waits for a bit for Ispan to think all these things through, and Ispan says, I won't report the failure to one of the chosen because, they would make us envy Leandrin.
Which apparently isn't going so well, if at all. We don't even know where Leandrin is.
No, but it doesn't sound like good things are happening for her.
So
Fallion thinks that fear of Moghedien is totally sensible, but maybe she's dead and whatever.
Well, they haven't had a summon. She hasn't pulled them into Tel'aran'rhiod. And this is the thing, though. At this point, we know that now, after the entirety of Lord of Chaos, now Moghedien has been, released.
Yes, now.
So, if anything...
As of, literally probably, a day ago. That's, this whole series in this book right now has been going...
Condensed time frame.
Seriously condensed. It's been a couple days.
Yeah, it's not very long.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Sometimes we jump, full weeks of travel.
Yeah. Or it's
nothing happens.
11 days of travel.
Exactly. And this has been a couple of days since the beginning of this book almost.
So if anything, now we're waiting for Moghedien to show up now.
Yeah, we
just
are.
when they're thinking about
we are.
turning
I
on
kind
her,
of thought
maybe. Okay.
If she pops up here right now,
boom.
That would be pretty cool.
For sure.
But anyway, so they think they can't just put every wise woman in Ebu Dar to the question because that'll for sure get noticed by the Aes Sedai here.
Yeah, and it would be impossible because we get some backstory here, so this must be the part that you skipped.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so there are possibly, based on these two's ideas, 100 to 200 wise women in Ebu Dar.
Yeah, I missed that, yeah.
Yeah, so plus we get a backstory where almost all wise women are wilders.
Yep.
And no wilder has ever been found keeping, objects of the power.
Yeah.
Because if they found one, they would get rid of it so they don't attract the wrath of the tower.
Yeah.
Because wilders have that, fear, oh my god, I'm going to be caught by the tower for having this. On the flip side of that, women who are kicked out of the tower are the opposite because they try to steal stuff.
I do remember this part, yeah.
Yes. So that's why they always search the ones who are kicked out, and almost all of them have stuff hidden on them
that they try
to smuggle out.
Yeah.
Which is fair, I get it. But it seems like they've picked this wise woman specifically, and her name was Callie, so we get a name for her, and she was selected for the torture because she's been here for 4 years, and she was kicked out of the tower, and she hasn't found anything yet. She didn't know anything. And if anyone was going to find anything, it'd be her who had tried to smuggle stuff out.
Okay.
So we kind of get that whole backstory.
Maybe.
On
I
Callie.
guess it's logical, but... Yeah.
It's not perfect logic, but there was a...
It's all they're going off of right now.
Also, not Azra.
Okay. And now, is it possible that any of these Black Aja Dark Friends are in the circles of, like, Jacob Carradine and Millie Vanilli?
Unlikely,
Okay.
I would say. I would say, like...
Are they operating in their own
probably
region?
Hierarchy-wise, I would assume that, yes,
Black Aja
anybody...
would be a little higher?
Yeah, and it's like,
But
yeah,
it
it technically doesn't
seem
matter.
that way in Dark Friend world.
I get that, but we haven't had any mention of that.
Yeah.
Plus, we get another scene right away,
Okay.
which kind of hints
Oh, okay.
a little bit.
Point that out to me.
And yeah, just to end this perspective, so Isben's fed up because she knows all this information. It was just basically for us to read her. But she says, hey, you said just now that you've got a way to kind of get us out of this issue with Mogedion. And Fallion says, okay, what will Mogedion like as much as like a catch
Right.
of power objects? And Isben says, I don't know, what? And she says, Nynaeve Almira. So if we want to give her Nynaeve and Elaine, maybe she'll could forgive us about failing in this mission because she's not all-knowing and all-powerful, and she's human, and she would rather have revenge on Nynaeve than have like all these powerful objects.
She comes to that conclusion because the last time they had any sort of interaction with Mogedion before Mogedion was captured, it was find Nynaeve and Elaine with a menagerie in Gildan.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was that whole thing. So the instructions were find Nynaeve and Elaine and bring them to me. And so they're like, okay, well, we know where they are. Let's do that. Let's capture them.
So
we have a lot of people wanting to capture Nynaeve and Elaine right now.
quite possibly. A whole lot.
Shoot.
And like bundle Matt in that too.
Shoot.
So yeah. And that's where we get the chapter title, Logic Must Prevail Over Emotion.
Yeah.
Because that should be the plan.
That is what Fallion thinks.
Yeah, Isben wants to stay away from Nynaeve and Elaine. But, you know, we'll see what happens.
Disaster follows them.
Perfect storm.
That's right.
Things are going to happen.
All right, and now we get a perspective change to an unknown weirdo man sitting on a barrel in an alley.
Very cool.
Watching the house across the street from the house that Isben and Fallion just killed a woman in, right?
Yeah, so that's the house, and the reason why he knows that is because he sees Arden and Ned come out with a wheelbarrow full of, like, straw and muck and stuff, and a dead body.
And he thinks, like, what are they up to? They don't muck out stables?
Yeah, so he's figured out that there's two Aes Sedai staying in this house here, so this guy is watching the house with the two dark, like, Black Aja who just murdered a wise woman.
Yeah.
But also, I will note, and we get this a few times in this very small perspective, that he touches his head and doesn't realize that he's doing it.
Yeah.
And he thinks about, like, oh, I don't have a headache, but my head feels peculiar.
I can't remember
things. What's going on? I can't remember barely anything at all, but I do remember that I don't have much time left.
Okay.
So,
yeah, he also thinks that he wants to find Carradine's pretty little killer again.
Yeah, exactly. So Millie Skane. So he's watching these two Black Aja, but he's also watching Carradine and Millie Skane, and it's like, who is he? Why is he watching them? Why does he know who all these dark friends are? Why he's got memory problems? And then we get one more little tidbit of information, because there's a man who comes down the street who thinks about robbing this guy, and then decides against it. Maybe it was something the mystery man, like, gave off as a vibe, but he thinks about the two long knives he's carried for well over 30 years.
Right. So
which is
he's
important.
An older guy.
Older, because he thinks, like, I don't have the good hands, the flexibility, the strength to have a sword anymore, and I've had the knives for 30 years. So he's, like, old, but he's old, probably.
Okay. Should I know who this is?
No.
Okay, good.
No, there's
I have no idea.
Nothing. There's nothing to really tell, but it's like a lot of things you got to tuck away.
This is like one of those paragraphs from an unknown perspective that won't come back for a very long time.
Okay, possibly, but I will remind you if and when it does. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, and that's the end of this chapter.
Yes. Yeah. I think logic triumphed. I feel like it.
All right, let's get into chapter 18. As the plow breaks the earth.
Yeah, prophecy.
Very metaphorical.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. Or, literally. Whatever works.
Whatever works. In this instance, there's no plow breaking the earth in this chapter. It's not a literal
Yeah, but
representation.
he is a farmer, right?
But
Never know.
okay, that's a metaphor. So the chapter symbol is a dragon.
Yes,
For Rand, we're back with Rand. And I thought we were going to get something different here.
I bet you did.
Yeah,
it was not that.
Expecting an old commanding
old lady
Aes Sedai.
Yeah. This is a good one. This is the introduction of a very interesting character.
She sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, obviously, Rand's perspective, he's in the throne room in Cairhien, because you never know where that guy is.
Yeah.
It's like, where in the world is Rand?
Gotta
We're
keep
never
tabs.
really sure. So he's in Cairhien, he's in the throne room, and he's entertaining some clan chiefs.
Yeah, 3 specific clan chiefs.
Right.
So we've got Indirian, we've got Mandalane, and Janwin. So these are 3 of the clan chiefs of the clans who were kind of, sort of, a little bit on the fence and listening to the rumors about Rand possibly being on a leash by the Aes Sedai.
Yeah, and be on the Aes Sedai side,
exactly.
more like. Okay, so basically this meeting seems to be to show off that he has the Aes Sedai in his control.
That is 100% what this meeting is for.
Okay,
Absolutely.
So he has his sleeves rolled up so that it's obvious he's the Karakard.
He's got the dragon tattoos. He's like, hello.
Hello,
Right?
look. And then he lowers a ward that he's woven across the room, and he says, more tea. And then Marana comes over, who's being clearly kept under ward against eavesdropping.
Yeah, she's being kept in it. She got put in a corner.
Yeah, and so she serves Rand and the clan chiefs more tea.
Yeah, she does a pretty good job of it.
Actually, yeah, and she says, may I serve my Lord Dragon in any way else?
Yeah, she's doing a good job being like a servant. I guess that's what you expect, so
And she's
okay.
not allowed to channel without permission.
Yes.
And I thought this was interesting because Marana was part of the group that wasn't like a prisoner of the Wise Ones, right?
Yeah, like she was part of the Saladar group.
That's right.
So not technically, but she's still...
Swore fealty?
Yeah.
They all did.
She's still on board. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, but I feel like the other Tower Aes Sedai are under a little bit stricter watch than this.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
It's the same, but it's different, but it's still same.
Okay, so now Rand motions Marana, like, back to the corner, and she's kind of acting like she's doing all of this because she wants to, and it's her choice, and that kind of irks Rand a little.
Yeah, it's the Aes Sedai way.
Yeah,
right?
but she still can't completely hide her uneasiness about the 2 Ashaman standing guard.
Yeah, so we got Narishma and we got Deshiva. Narishma's the young guy.
Deshiva's the spacey guy.
The spacey head in the clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Luz Theron is also here in Rand's head.
Yeah, he's back, or he's still here?
He's still here.
Yeah.
And he says, only a fool thinks a lion or a woman can truly be tamed. And then Rand's like, shut it, and suppresses the voice.
Thanks, Luz Theron.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, Rand thinks back to the conversation he had with Marana this morning when she said, my sisters do not all realize how much we need you, but all of us who swore will do whatever you ask that won't violate the 3 oaths.
Yeah, because they still have the oaths. They can't.
They can't.
They can't.
But then she asks him to use them more as they have pledged because they do have skills to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, hey, we're valuable. We can do things for you. Except,
I'm very skilled in negotiation.
Like, maybe.
And Rand's like, I saw your freaking negotiation techniques.
Like maybe actually you're not the best negotiator, Marana.
I'm so skilled in negotiation.
Have you seen me?
I'm so skilled. Watch this. I'm negotiating right now. How's it going?
Oh, wow. Excellent. Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Aside from that.
I get what she's saying. It's like, use us.
Yeah.
We swore, use us.
And he's like, no, I hate all of you and I don't trust you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Also fair.
And Rand thinks about Olenna and how much she's crying always.
Yes.
Because of grief.
And you know why though is she crying so much?
Who cares?
Comma, I don't care.
Is
Okay.
that Rand? That's what Rand
Yeah, that's what. But for the record, so keep in mind, Alana is bonded to Rand, and we just got off a bunch of chapters seeing how Lan was affected by Moraine. And for the record, how, if something happens to Alana, is it going to affect Rand?
Yeah, bad.
Bad. Because
Yeah.
we get in this chapter that there's like a constant guard of maidens on Alana, and that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, maybe protect her also because she's an Aes Sedai who's bonded to you, and if she dies, that might not go well.
Yeah, I wonder if he can command her to, like, release the bond. Is that a thing that can happen?
I mean,
Can you release
possibly.
the bond and it's, like, all fine, back to normalsies?
From what we've heard, that's a definite maybe.
Yeah.
So,
Because maybe that's something he could try.
I mean, it's possible. We also don't know if the bond affects him exactly the same way as Lan because Rand can channel.
That's true.
And we know there's a difference where she couldn't command him to do things.
That's
and
true.
That's like
is
the
that
one...
a Rand thing?
Is it a Rand thing or is it
Or
like
is
a
it a
channeler
channeler
thing?
thing?
So, and we don't know enough about the bond to comment. So,
I say try it.
why? What could go wrong?
Try it.
Yeah.
Try to release that.
Love it.
Yeah.
Alana wouldn't do that though.
But if she's commanded,
She would say no.
but they swore to obey him, right?
Possibly.
I don't really know what they swore.
We don't.
I'm just guessing.
We don't. We also don't know about Alana specifically too. So like maybe that's different.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Ugh,
Okay.
no favorites.
No. Yeah.
Okay, now back to what's happening right now. Rand is in front of the clan chiefs and he says, the wise ones have told you where the Aes Sedai stand. You've seen this happen. She served us tea, as I told her to do.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell her to dance a jig?
Yeah.
Will
I mean, okay.
that convince you?
His biggest problem right now, and he thinks about it, is that the Aiel aren't 100% sure that he's not on an Aes Sedai leash, so he needs to do something somehow to prove to them that he is in control.
Right.
And that's the problem, because he's like, hey, you want me to make them dance a jig? And then one of them says, well, we've heard that some Aes Sedai will do anything they have to get their way. So, like, even if he made them dance,
Yeah.
maybe they're just doing that to prove that Rand isn't on a leash, but he
Right,
is.
yeah.
It's a lose-lose situation.
It sounds that way.
It's not good.
And so finally they say, you know, what's done is done. Let the wise ones deal with it. We don't care.
No, let's talk about those Shido dogs.
Yeah, I hate those guys.
Hate them.
And so Rand asks, well, what of the wise ones? And the news about the wise ones taking part in the battle at Dumai's Wells was pretty shocking to everyone, because that's super against the rules.
Yeah, there's a huge conflict about that.
Prohibidado.
Yes.
They did it anyway.
They did it.
But again, the wise ones are going to be dealt with by the wise ones.
Yeah, so we
don't
get...
worry about the women's business, basically.
That's true, but we get some information here. So apparently it seems like the Wise Ones are going to be running with the IO. So it's commented like it seems like they're going to partake in battle.
Everything's
going forward,
changing.
Things are changing, times are changing. We got to get on board with it.
Yeah,
So,
and then we do a bit more chatting, and Rand thinks about how the prophecies don't exactly leave a lot of room for hope here.
yeah, so we get the prophecy, so I'm going to read it out for the record. As the plow breaks the earth, shall he break the lives of men, and all that was shall be consumed in the fire of his eyes. So that sounds really good.
Sounds good because it's a metaphor.
Well, I mean, we have heard of someone with fire in his eyes, so I don't know. Could be
No,
literal.
no.
Okay, anyways, it continues. The trumpets of war shall sound at his footsteps, the ravens' feet at his voice, and he shall wear a crown of swords.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my goodness, what does it mean?
Wow.
He's going to wear a crown of swords. Metaphorically speaking.
Maybe. I still want to know how they're going to fashion that crown out of swords literally.
It's a big crown.
Or...
Upwards.
Upwards.
Hopefully. Upwards.
Wow, that's
6
heavy.
swords in a circle, upwards, hopefully.
Oh.
There you go.
That's a big crown.
Right?
You know this book cover that we have
Yeah.
has a crown,
Yes.
sort of,
Yep.
with like tiny mini swords, all sort of
Oh, you noticed that.
in the little leaves.
Yeah, it does,
That
it does.
looks more like a crown of daggers,
True, right?
or even smaller.
Yes, these are not swords.
Tiny little pocket knives.
I prefer Sor is the back that wears the crown of swords that Brett describes, right?
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Do you write prophecy?
I do.
Cool.
It would be heavy. So,
all right.
Okay.
All right. So now, basically, after all of this, the clan chiefs leave, and that's all that there is to that.
That was the meeting.
So Rand sees Marana watching and waiting to be let out of her corner, and she'll probably want to dig out what was said at this meeting.
Yeah, so he doesn't let her out. She
Yeah.
can stay there for a bit.
So he goes over to talk to those Ashaman guys.
Yeah, so he says, hey, Narishma Deshiva, do you think that the clan chiefs believe that I dance on Aes Sedai strings? And Narishma says, I don't know.
And then Deshiva says, doesn't matter.
Yeah, as long as they obey, it doesn't matter.
Who cares?
And Rand disagrees. He
Rand's
says,
like,
it matters.
I care.
I care about this.
I care. It matters.
Yeah.
And then the door opens, and one of the maidens comes in to announce that Berelain and her Aes Sedai Nora are here to see him.
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
And Berelain storms in, not happy, and she says, what is this all about? Why am I returning to Mayenne? I've governed well here, and you know it, and even I couldn't have stopped Colivir from taking the throne, but at least I stopped her from changing your laws. Plus, you didn't even tell me to my face you sent a letter.
Yeah, so this is pretty big. So big news. Number one, Berelain is leaving. She's going home.
Well, she's being told to leave. This doesn't sound like she's leaving.
It doesn't sound like she's done with the conversation yet, but even when she leaves, like, Rand doesn't change his mind.
No, I really wish Rand would stop deciding things for people and their own safety.
Well,
I feel like grown adults can decide things for their own safety, or it can be a mutual conversation and decision. Rand's a little in over his head here, I
That's
think.
fair. I'm going to medium disagree. He can assign rulers as he wishes.
That's true. But the reason he's reassigning a ruler here is because he fears for her danger, and he has a stupid hang-up about women being in danger. And my point is, people can decide for themselves if they feel like they're in danger.
Yeah, and that's why I said medium. There disagree.
should have been a conversation here where Rand said, I fear for your safety. I think you should leave for your safety.
Yeah.
And then it could have been a conversation, and Berelain could have said, I agree, it's not safe here for me. I'm going to leave and rule over there for you. Or she could say, thanks for your input, but I'm good.
But again, medium disagree. He can do whatever he wants to. He's the Dragon Reborn.
I know he can.
Yeah.
But should he?
Yes.
No.
I think he should do more of just whatever he wants all the time. I want more of that Rand. I want more of that guy.
A more entertaining book.
Yeah, I mean, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Let's do it.
Anyway, do you want to talk about how Rand thinks that Berelain is super hot?
No. Pause. Hold on.
You know who else thinks Berelain is super hot?
It's not Rand.
It's Luce Theron.
It's Luce Theron. He's like doing his thumb in the ear thing that apparently is like a LTT thing.
And a humming when he sees a pretty lady through Rand's eyes.
And he's like, yeah, that's my body. Quit looking.
And Luce Theron runs away.
Rand would never.
Yeah, well, Rand thinks about Min.
Yeah.
When he thinks about getting a little turned on by this pretty lady.
Well, okay. It's not his fault that he's got a crazy guy living in his head that thinks Berelain's hot. That's not his fault.
Well, Berelain's pretty hot.
Right? But not his fault.
Okay.
Not him.
Fine.
Okay.
I also just wanted to point out that I read this chapter on the 1st of May, and Berelain is the 1st of Mayenne.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't make that up. I saw a meme that went around by lots of people. I don't even actually know where it originated. I wish I could give credit. I'm sure somebody knows.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's kind of like a May the 4th be with you situation,
sure.
which is tomorrow, by the way.
Okay.
But, yeah, the 1st of May and
I like
is
it.
funny.
All right.
I happened to read a Berelain chapter on the 1st of May. It's
good.
great.
It works.
Now, Rand is telling Luce Theron to run away, and the silence, while he's doing that, works in his favor. Because Berelain comes in so hot, and instead of she comes in angry and aggressive and
also hot, though. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but she comes in.
Hot and angry.
And instead of responding to her right away, he just sort of says nothing. Because he's talking to Luce Theron.
Smart.
But she sort of takes a step back and is like, why? And then Rand is able to say, you know why. And it's because when you came back from the Seafolk ship this morning, there was a fella waiting with a knife.
Yeah, and then we get the whole, like, oh, someone tried to kill her, but she had guards, but it's not just a thug, it's actually someone trying to assassinate her, because apparently she made a bunch of enemies, because Colavir, that whole situation, and there's a little tidbit that maybe File's in danger too, but Rand is taking care of that somehow, some way.
Good. Can't wait. Can't wait to hear about how Rand and Perrin are going to dictate what happens to Faile because she's in danger.
Right?
Can't wait. Can't wait to find that one out.
It's gonna be good.
I bet Faile will love that.
It's gonna be they're gonna go on a vacation to Abu Dar.
Love it.
And she's gonna stab Perrin.
Cool. You know what?
He's gonna deserve it. It's gonna be good.
Is there also husband stabbing in Saladar or just yelling at each other?
There can be husband stabbing wherever you like. Okay. Anyways, new plan. Dobrain is gonna be in control now here.
Yeah.
And Berelain can go back to Mayenne and deal with that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't love it.
Perfect. It's a perfect plan. Nothing can go wrong.
She's going to go back to a place where people are loyal to her and won't try to kill her. And it's like, how do you even know? How do you know that? Maybe they'll be upset she was gone for too long, ruling somewhere else. You don't know. She's not going to be 100% safe anywhere she goes.
Ugh, terrible. Okay.
Anyway.
And there's a little look, too, because Enora gives Berelain a look, and clearly they've got some sort of, like, something planned out here.
Yeah.
Because that's when Berelain shifts to the Seafolk plan. So she says, hey, so the Wave Mistress isn't happy that you have dodged her forever at this point.
You've left her waiting too long.
But I've got a good relationship. I can smooth it over. Dobrain's not going to be able to do it.
Cannot do that.
I can be the person to do that for you, so I should stay here.
Mm-hmm. Also, Berelain has a relationship with the Wise Ones that Dobrain, I'm sure, does not have.
Yes. Like, there are a lot of things in Berelain's corner for staying here.
Yeah. Like everything.
Okay, that's a good example. That's a good example. Okay.
Right. And she wants to?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, okay, so Rand doesn't understand any of this because it's Rand. And he thinks, like, why would you want to stay here? People don't typically like you here.
And your job is really hard.
It's hard, and people are trying to kill you. And then he figures out, like, hey, Mayenne's a small country. We get the whole backstory that she uses her, feminine charm, whatever you want to call it, her wiles, to keep Mayenne safe from countries like Tyr.
From being swallowed up by larger countries.
Exactly. And there's a whole back and forth, and Rand says, hey, I'll guarantee stuff to you. And she says, what about when I'm not here?
Like safety to Mayenne.
Exactly.
Right?
And the whole conversation is basically saying, what happens when I'm gone for so long that you forget about me? And what happens if someone like Wiramon and Tyr delivers Ilion to you? And he says, oh...
And by the way, I want
Mayenne. And you're like, oh yeah, I haven't seen that Berelain chick in a long time, so like, sure, why not?
Right.
So Berelain's got a lot of good points.
Yeah, and then Rand sort of says, okay, will you serve if it still means leaving?
Yeah.
And now, not necessarily to Mayenne, so like, we'll see how that goes.
Exactly. So like, we maybe shifted a little bit, but that was the entire conversation with Rand and Berelain.
Mm-hmm. And now the door swings open.
Yeah, it's Rialin again. So.
Yeah, and she says, an Aes Sedai has come to see the Kara Karn. And number one, my first thought was, rude.
Right? We've been through this, guys.
Yeah, he's clearly here meeting with somebody of relative importance.
Yes.
Let's not just bust in.
And then it gets worse.
And interrupt. But it sounds like there wasn't much of a choice.
No, there was no choice.
Because the Aes Sedai who's here is one we have yet to meet in this series.
Yes. So far.
Okay. Her name is Cadsuane Maladrin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cadsuane. Yeah.
Okay. So she is a gray-haired woman.
Okay.
Full
and
gray.
Now I see that you don't care about the full gray.
No, I don't care about the full gray.
Was it gray wings?
Wings is,
of gray?
I guess, is a way to say streaked at the temples.
Okay. I'll get it.
No, you won't.
I'm trying so hard.
It's my thing anyway.
Okay. I'm looking for it now.
I know. Okay. So she also has these like fancy dancy gold ornaments hanging in her hair.
Yes.
And
jingling around.
Everything sort of happens all at once.
This is actually like
wild.
a pretty wild introduction. I like it. I like the introduction. I don't necessarily like everything that happens, but I like the introduction.
Okay, so Anora, Berelain's advisor, is like, I thought you were dead.
Yeah.
And then Morana leaps forward and screams, no, Cadsuane, you must not harm him.
Like, busts out from behind the ward.
Like,
so dramatic style.
So dramatic. All of this is dramatic.
And scream. Like, not very often RJ uses the word screamed.
Yeah.
Like, exclaimed, yelled, said. Even when Rand is angry, it's like, oh, he growled.
Yeah.
But she screams, like, no!
Yeah, no, Cadsuane. And then Rand feels Saidar being embraced in the room.
Which is really funny, because who embraced Saidar?
Morana?
And
she's not allowed to.
Well, and it's like,
without permission.
It's not like
And she did it
Cadsuane
to
came in.
Yeah.
Cadsuane didn't bust in and, like, embrace Saidar.
No.
It was Morana.
I know, it's
From
fine.
what we can tell.
Yeah. And so he moves quickly from Berelain, seizes Saidin, he can feel the Ashaman doing the same. Luce Theron goes on his kill them all rant.
Yep.
And Rylin the maiden veils herself and shouts, and a dozen maidens pile in the room with their spears ready.
Yeah, Narishma's got like two hands on his sword to draw it. It's like, and Berelain is standing there like, what is going on here?
Right.
No, but it's like crazy because who the heck is this? Number one, why is she coming in here like this?
Right, and you
and
know
the
what
reactions from Morana and Anora.
Oh, it's big.
Whoa.
But all of this happens, and Cadsuane seems, quote, remarkably unaffected.
Yeah.
She just like looks at the maidens and shakes her head and then says to Anora, I'm not dead yet, but sometimes trying to force roses to grow in my garden is like death or something stupid.
It's kind of like she's been in retirement sort of whatever, and that's good enough. That is basically death.
Yep.
and now she's back.
No, I thought it was getting the flowers to grow is a difficult job.
Possibly. I also read it as
anyway,
retirement.
It doesn't matter at all.
Yeah. I will note here that the reactions from Anora, so Rand like sees Anora looking at her, staring like she's seen a ghost or a giant. So we get a whole bunch of stuff about this like Cadsuane person, but she clearly has a reputation for these sisters to react the way they do.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And has been gone for long enough that everyone thought she was dead.
Literally like dead and gone.
Yeah.
But I guess she's alive in here.
And to have an Aes Sedai with fully gray hair
is like you're effing old.
You're old, and we get
that she is she's the oldest.
She's the oldest Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
So there you go. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
But Cadsuane tells Morana to calm down, and Rand notes that Morana looks kind of embarrassed, and then he feels Saidar vanish.
Yes.
And so he and the Ashaman do not let go of Saidin. They're not ready for that because Rand demands, who are you? What Aja? What do you want? And then Cadsuane just looks at Rand but doesn't answer.
And you know what? Fair reaction by Rand and the Ashaman
and
for
everybody.
Having like a nice story. Like he's been through some shit. Like let's be real here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember. He was in a box.
I was here.
That was bad.
That wasn't good.
And for her to just come on in here, I mean, we don't know what she knows.
Nope.
Right? We know what she thinks about him and people and males who can channel.
Kind of.
We kind of get the vibe from that.
Kind of.
A little bit. But we don't know if she knows everything about Rand and what he's been through.
At this point, her busting in here and the way everybody reacts, of course Rand should be on edge. Of course.
Yeah.
So now Cadsuane walks across the room to the Ashaman and starts inspecting them. Dashiva stares her up and down and sneers, and Cadsuane is taking everything in very calmly.
And that's very different because we get like Anora and Morana, like none of them are comfortable with male channelers.
No, and she seems to be.
She's like, and we get why in a second.
Right, and she even says that Narishma has lovely eyes.
Yeah.
And so Rand orders the Ashaman to do nothing, and so they both salute him with the fist to the chest thing, which is probably a Taim thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And Rand asks again, what do you want here? And so Cadsuane finally says, so, you're Rand al'Thor, the Dragon Reborn. I'd have thought even a child like Moraine could have taught you some manners.
Yeah.
How about manners just like busting in here?
well, you take that smudges of the Aes Sedai, and it's like, that's what you get.
That's what you get.
Get the oldest, most reputable Aes Sedai ever.
Be polite to me.
Right?
Yeah.
So, okay. But I mean, hey, she knows about Moraine, and she knows about that.
She does know about that.
Teaching Rand, or whatever you want to call it. So, okay.
And so, Rylan flashes some hand talk at the maidens, but there's no jokes about Rand this time.
Yeah.
And so Rand tells them all to be easy. And Cadsuane just ignores this all and tells Berelain that she's gonna leave.
Yeah.
And Anora's gonna stay and dismisses her.
Yeah, there we go.
But before leaving though,
Yeah.
Berelain plays up the asking Rand's permission to leave. And so it's at his order and not Cadsuane's.
Yeah.
So even though Berelain's pissed at Rand and what's happening, she still has some sense about her.
Yeah, Berelain, from the start, has been in Rand's corner 100%. She's been, I think she was, the first, and she's been, solid from the get-go.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear she's not 100%, on board with Cadsuane's actions.
No.
On how she's coming in here, so...
No.
I mean, I gotta give it to her. It's a bold strategy, walking in here the way she does, and then treating everybody terribly, so...
It's bold. It's a strategy, all right.
We'll see how it plays out.
I don't think anything really goes wrong for her. I think at this point she typically in her life gets mostly what she wants.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole thing is if it did go wrong, the going wrong part would be her being killed.
Yeah.
If things actually went wrong, she would be dead right now.
That's true.
And it's only because of Rand not, basically containing himself as much as possible she's not dead.
Yeah. So when Berelain leaves, Cadsuane says... It's nice to see children play. She's so condescending in such a little bit.
Towards, Rand and Berelain doing the whole back and forth. That's
I know.
It's not good.
And most of the maidens leave with Berelain because it seems like this won't be too dangerous of a situation.
Yeah.
The Ashamans also seem to think that the danger is past. And Rand knows Cadsuane is deliberately trying to provoke him. Or at least that's what he thinks, because he's, super on edge.
Well, he knows that she is, and it's, pretty clear that she's poking. She's poking the bear.
Yeah.
But Rand doesn't get why. And that's a fair question. Why? Why is this the strategy?
Yeah, when it's clear that he could still her or kill her without even exerting himself.
Yeah. And again, he's so far above anybody else in power,
Yes.
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah. And so Cadsuane still doesn't really address Rand and makes a comment about wanting tea. So Rand uses Saidin to serve her tea.
Yeah, and we get the different reactions. So Anora is not on board with Saidin being channeled. Mirana's a little bit shaky hands. But again, Cadsuane is
not affected.
And the worst part is she looks at Rand directly and says, "That's a good boy."
Yeah.
Again, just so condescending. It's just the worst.
So Rand is barely containing his rage and says, "I'll ask one more time, what the F do you want?"
You gotta
answer or leave by the door or window, your choice.
It's I'm gonna literally toss you out the window if you don't give me something.
I don't know how much you know, but I don't trust Aes Sedai.
I am not doing good right now, man.
Yeah, but that's kind of what she's here to say. She's kind of here to say, are you doing good? Because I don't think you're doing good.
Yeah, but
right?
for what reason is he not doing good? Rand has a lot of bad things going on just strictly from channeling, the taint, all that. Mm-hmm. The stress and pressure of being the Dragonborn. But then add in the Aes Sedai factor.
Uh-huh.
And that's why we don't know what she knows about the Aes Sedai and what has happened.
That's true.
So
she says, I'm here to see you. I am green Aja, not red, but I've worn the shawl longer than any sister living. I've faced more men who could channel than any 4 reds, maybe 10. Some fought to the bitter end, kicking and screaming. Some wept and begged and offered gold. Some wept from relief, and they all wept in the end.
Yeah, so, okay, reputation-wise, she's been around the block. She's handled... And essentially, we know the tower law is you bring them back to the tower to be gentled.
Yeah.
So it seems like she's been involved in a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, and also, depending on just how old she is.
Yeah.
The green battle Aja of this current generation, say 50 years or so.
Sure.
Sounds like they haven't had a lot of battle experience.
Yeah.
But maybe, because I have no idea how old she is, like maybe
Yeah.
she has had some legitimate experience in like battles and stuff like that, right?
So we've sort of figured out a little bit about how old Aes Sedai probably live, which is around 300-ish years is kind of what we've come to the conclusion of. We haven't gotten like hard numbers yet,
Right.
but it seems around like that level.
Okay.
A couple hundred years is like an old Aes Sedai.
Okay, that's okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So now this is it for Rand. This is his boiling point, and he hurls the tray and teapot across the room and smashes a mirror. And Rand says, "Is that supposed to frighten me? Do you expect me to beg or weep? I could close my hand and crush you. Marana knows why I should, clearly.
Yeah, because
and
the whole do
light
as well thing.
knows why I don't."
Yeah, which is also fair. Like, in all reality, coming in this hot with him right now, he would, in a lot of senses, be justified to, like, you know, bring the hammer down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or at least, like, shield her and, like,
treat her not
tie
as
her
nicely.
off, or,
yeah,
exactly, right? And hold her for questioning and
Yeah.
send her off to the wise ones.
Be like, nope, you're lumped in now, so there you go.
Yeah. And so Cadsuane says, "Now you know that I know your future and your present. Have you begun to hear voices yet?" And then Rand's like, "What do you mean?"
Wait, what?
Wait, what? And Cadsuane says, "Some men who can channel begin to hear voices. It's a part of the madness. Voices conversing with them, telling them what to do. Have you heard any?"
Okay.
And at this point, one of the Ashaman like looks at her too, right?
So Dashiva laughs, the older guy, and that's the thing, is like, if you're older and maybe channel longer, like, we don't really know. Maybe he is already getting that too, if that's the thing.
Sure.
And then Narishma licks his lips, like, kind of nervously almost, and watches her. So maybe is he getting, like, the starting of that? Is it every Ashaman? Probably not, from what it sounds like. Because she says some.
Right.
But that begs a huge question about Rand and Lews Therin.
Yeah, sort of. We've already talked about this, I thought.
I mean, but the whole thing is, like, is the voice the madness? Is it both? Is it, like, do the other Ashaman get, like, past lives talking to them? Is it just crazy talking to them? Right? Like, is it themselves being crazy talking to themselves?
Right. Yeah, it's hard to say, because it's just voices conversing with them. This is specifically Lews Therin, and Rand has specific memories of the Forsaken, of Lews Therin, and of Ilyena. Like, Rand didn't even know the name Ilyena before this.
True.
Like, this, whether it's madness or not,
yeah,
I do believe that this is this, like, soul. I guess Rand, they share a soul of, like, Lews Therin and Rand. Like, they're together.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. So Rand is Lews Therin.
Yeah, exactly.
They are one soul. It's not like...
And so is it a madness thing that men who can channel are fated to, like, hear the voices of their past lives? Is that actually what's happening? Because it could be both. You know what I mean? It could be him going crazy and also really Lews Therin and all of Lews Therin's memories.
Okay. Yeah.
Because at no point do I think Rand is so crazy that he's, like, making all of this up and, like, hallucinating.
Because you wouldn't be able to bring in those, like, different weaves. It's got to be something.
Very specific memories that Rand for sure does not have.
So, I mean, that's the question, is, like, is LTT a separate entity, or is it just, like, the
soul,
combined memories drifting into one?
Right.
So
there has been a couple of instances of a little bit of a conversation, like, "Who are you?" Right?
Yeah,
and then like, I'm running away.
But I mean, is that something that, like, a crazy person could do?
It's
It's
possible. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
But, you know, I feel for Rand here because he's like, "Lews Therin, you are real, aren't you?
He's
You're
his
my
friend, yeah.
He's like his only friend.
It's like, you saved me from the box, man.
Yeah, without you, I wouldn't,
we wouldn't be here today.
Wouldn't be here.
Oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, so, okay. A lot of questions. Cadsuane just, like, dropped a freaking bombshell.
And Rand is like, "I ask the questions. You seem to forget I'm the Dragon Reborn." But then this is where on the inside he's, like, thinking, "I'm not mad. The voice is real, not imagination. It's not madness." And then Cadsuane says, you're a young little baby man, and you have little idea what you're talking about, where you're going, what you're doing, what lies ahead.
We'll talk later.
You have no idea what's going on. We can speak when you're more settled. Anyways, I'm going to take Marana and Honora away for a bit. See ya.
Yeah.
And Rand,
So, I mean, okay.
yeah, has absolutely had enough of this and yells at everyone, get out!
Yeah. I mean, she swooped in. She did the seagull. You swoop in, you shit on everything, and you fly away.
I was going to say, ruffle in the garbage, pick up the french fries and run away.
Exactly. It's like, whatever, raccoon, you knock the trash can over, you take what you want, and you leave. And you're like, you left me with a pile of garbage. Terrible. Okay.
That's better. I like picturing Cadsuane as a raccoon, a little trash panda.
There you go.
I do have to say, though, I kind of like her.
Okay. You know what?
I like her in the way that I used to like Elida.
Okay.
Just like, remember when I used to think Elida was like competent and demanding
I remember.
and assertive, and
Danny,
I liked that about her?
We all remember that.
Yeah.
We all remember when you said that.
I feel like all those things Elida did used to be.
Sure.
She did.
We'll see what happens with that.
She's kind of shifted. She's gone crazy with power.
Sure.
It's possible.
Okay.
Anyway, I like Cadsuane. I like her energy.
Do you think...
Not for Rand. I think that's a bad dynamic. And with any other Aes Sedai, it seems like a bad dynamic. But I don't like any other Aes Sedai right now.
She's very, like, antagonistic. Like, you really pushed a lot of buttons really quickly.
She did. I think it's kind of funny.
But here's the thing. For what purpose? Like, why?
I don't know. I bet she has one, though.
Exactly. But it's like... I gotta know what that is. Why did you do that?
Find out.
Right?
Yeah. I think maybe why I like her so much, and I just came to this realization, is like I don't like any Aes Sedai right now. Okay. And she seems to be in control of the Aes Sedai I don't like.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's see how this goes.
Yeah.
I like this. Unpredictable, unexpected.
Give me some more.
Interesting new dynamics happening. Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
So now Rand is all alone in this room, and he thinks about how Lews Therin told him things and helped him escape the chest. And even though he has used the power before, like even before he heard the voice...
Yeah, he still figured out how to do things. Like Stone and Tear, for example, he gives. He hadn't heard the voice really yet, but he was still able to like conjure up that lightning construct that killed all the Shadow Spawn in the Stone and Tear.
Sort of, yeah, okay.
So he thinks, like, was that LTT just, like, before the voice? Like, how does that work? And we really, again, we don't know. We don't know enough.
We don't know enough.
Yeah.
But Rand paces back and forth. He can't stop. He keeps telling himself, like, I'm not mad. Not yet. Not yet. And then the door opens, and it's Ryalin the Maiden.
The same one keeps letting everybody in here.
Oh, my God. No kidding. Like, how about, say... Are you ready for a visitor?
He's busy.
Yeah.
This is why we schedule appointments.
No kidding.
Ugh.
Anyway, there's a woman with her. He's about to tell him to go away, and then he sees it's Idrian.
Yes.
So this is the head of the school.
Do you remember when we last saw her?
No.
She had just come across the pile of the remains.
That's what I figured this was.
Of Herod Fell.
Okay, she was the one who found that.
Yeah.
Okay, and now she's here to tell Rand about that.
You know, this is actually super sweet too. We'll play it up a little bit.
It's sweet.
It's very sweet because Rand is in a bad mental state.
Very bad.
He sees it's Idrian, and he's like, okay, he puts on a gentle tone, as gentle as he can make it. He's like, what's wrong? Because she has clearly been distraught, crying, not good.
Yeah.
And then she comes up and falls into his chest and cries.
And he says, what's the matter?
And it takes a while, like a while of her crying before she can tell him the story. And he just stays with her like that for a while.
And Rand feels like weeping too.
It's very, like, he comforts...
But is Rand weeping because Harold Fell was...
It's not Harold.
What was it? Herod?
Herod. The man came into our lives and then promptly died.
Could have given Rand a lot of information.
A lot of very important information,
and now he's
possibly.
Dead. Is that why Rand is crying?
Well, no,
and he also lost a friend who he could talk to who didn't see him as the Dragon Reborn.
Because he didn't know that he was a Dragon Reborn.
Right.
Couldn't keep that. He was too busy hitting on, the ladies during the festivals.
He was doing that, wasn't he?
Okay. Anyways, so Idrian's now told him that Herod Fell is dead.
Yeah. Okay. And in a very gruesome manner.
Yeah, ripped apart.
Yeah. And we
Torn
have
limb
seen
from limb.
somebody else.
In Kyrian.
Yeah. Barthanes.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. All right. This was a big episode. I have a lot to digest here.
For sure.
Let's see. Let's see where this goes. I'm eager to read on.
Okay.
So now, before you get attacked by probably definitely dark friends and think they're just there to steal your gold, I'm going to say that this is part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. The Wheel Weaves is hosted by Dani and Brett, edited by Dani, produced by Dani and Brett, with Essen, Passion Socks, Mozyme, Moltude, Benjamin, Michelle O'Brien, Jamie Young, Cody Fouts, Megan Smiley, Jonathan Reese, Vince Lewick, and Margaret, with music by Audionautics. If you are interested in supporting us and the podcast and also getting some really cool exclusive merch and access to early episodes and bonus episodes, you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. For general information about our show and us, like how to send us shot glasses, how to join our Discord, how to get in touch with us, things like that, for all things The Wheel Weaves, you can go to thewheelweavespodcast.com. Please be sure to give us that 5-star review because it really does make a huge difference. And tell a friend about us because referrals really are the best compliment. Thanks again for listening because this really is part of the pattern now.